Today we're talking with Alec Miller from Caroline Place Baumann Management. We're discussing Sherpa and how it has affected his property. So Alec, today I want to ask you a couple questions about Sherpa.
Okay.
Just briefly tell us a little bit about when you first heard about Sherpa. You know, what were your thoughts going through your head? What were you thinking when you initially heard about Community Sherpa?
Well, initially I was a little conflicted, primarily because it required me to, it required a little personal growth on my part. I had to abandon some of my loyalties to, the conventional methods of networking and things like that. But it seemed like an exciting concept. I was really excited about the fact that we could control, all the content, and contribute to it as well. My staff can contribute, on the blog and things like that. I also was pretty excited because it seemed like a pretty daunting undertaking having to manage, the Twitter, the Facebook, the blog and stuff like that. But Sherpa already had a staff that was installed to kind of manage that and to keep that going, even if we were asleep at the wheel, so to speak.
Right.
We don't have to contribute, and yet the thing still continues to grow and to operate.
Right.
So,
right.
But I was a little conflicted. It was, it was difficult for me to get on board with. I don't know. I always kind of dismissed Facebook and Twitter and things like that as something that was, exclusive to, kind of high school kids and things like that. But after doing some research or whatever, I really learned it's not a fad. It's not, a flash in the pan kind of deal. It's something that's here to stay. It's going to be an enduring part of the way that people communicate from now on.
So that brings me to my next question. How has your opinion changed? Have you...
It's evolved, and it continued. My opinion continues to, or I continue to warm to the idea of, this, the new social networking mediums and things like that. I've got to contribute to our blog on the Caroline Place Community Sherpa site a couple of times. I've gotten some really good feedback from the residents. From local businesses and things like that, people that I've tried to share the Community Sherpa website and information about it with.
So you're a relatively new user.
Mm-hmm.
You've been up about 4 or 5 months.
Yeah, since October.
So have you noticed a difference in your resident retention? Have you seen an impact with your residents in using and embracing the concept?
Immediately after we got up and running with Community Sherpa, we distributed flyers and things like that, kind of allowing our letting our residents know that we had this new, this new deal going on. Immediately after we did that, probably within 3 or 4 days after we did that, I got about 10 or 15 calls from our residents, saying that they checked the site out, that they were and they were really complimentary of it. So I obviously encouraged them to friend us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter and things like that. So, I saw results almost immediately after we got going.
Great. So tell me about an impact, if any, in your leasing. Have you noticed, the whole idea is that if your residents are embracing it, that the word of mouth will spread. Have you noticed an increase there at all?
Well, yes and no. Initially, people, we haven't gotten a whole lot of traffic from Community Sherpa being the first site that people visit. A lot of people, will get phone calls or emails from people that we've, through Apartment Finder and all the other listing services that we have. And then I'll give them the Community Sherpa website to go check out because it has, it's not just the bare bones, not like a bare bones list of qualities about, the apartments and list of amenities. That's kind of like dry, just dry information. It has stuff about, on our blog, it has stuff about our community, about, local restaurants and eateries and things like that. So it gives them a broader sense of what we have to offer as a property and as a community, being in the community that we're in.
Perfect. So, if someone were skeptical and they were to call you up and say, Alec, I am not so sure about this Community Sherpa, what would you say to them?
I would first tell them to go to YouTube and look up social networking explosion. That's something that, I mean, the amount of information that's thrown at you about it is just staggering. It also, I mean, it acquaints you with, a lot of statistics that you don't know about. I mean, again, I'm a pretty young guy, but I was relatively unfamiliar with, Facebook, Twitter, and all that other stuff, and I had no idea how many people that it reaches. I mean, either way, the information kind of speaks for itself, and even that little snippet of video on, the social network explosion or whatever, that's outdated. I mean, that's old, and so, I mean, things have grown exponentially since then, even. So, I mean, it's something that if somebody was hesitant or apprehensive about the Facebook and Twitter aspect of things, and question the endurance or the longevity of those things, it's beyond question now. As far as community Sherpa, like the blogging and things like that, I mean, that kind of stands by itself. A lot of people have websites now. That is a website, but it takes one step further, and I mean, it's interactive. I mean, you can interact. The staff can interact with it as far as contributing to the blog. It has a bio on all of your staff or whatever, so people have a pretty decent idea of who you are and who they're going to be working with when they come in here. And I mean, there's just I can't say enough good things about it. You can contribute to the gallery. I mean, take photos of the apartments, take photos of the property. So that gives people that are coming in here a better idea of what they're looking at, and also they know walking in whether they're really interested in it or not. I mean, a lot of people walking in and off the street are like, oh, we'll check this place out and see what it does and see how cool it is. But they have a great idea of what we're about, what we have to offer, where we're at when they walk in the door, and it just makes our job easier. And I think it gives the prospect of just more information about
Whole
us.
picture.
Yeah, whole picture.
So I guess it's safe to assume that Community Sherpa is here to stay?
Yeah, absolutely for us. I mean, our company we take a proactive approach at things, and if you're not 10 steps ahead, you're 5 steps behind. And to my knowledge, I think we're the one out of only 2 properties in the St. Louis area that do this. I mean, that puts us in on the ground level of things. But yeah, Community Sherpa for us is here to stay, and I mean, that's going to be it's going to be commonplace, I think, for everybody in the next 5 years.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for your time today. I really appreciate it.
It is my pleasure.
And again, Alec Miller from Baumann Properties.